is Nye. You join me once more in the Finale Guitar Studio in Sheffield, above the Finale Guitar Shop on Cherry Street. In these coronavirus-ridden times, you may be doing a lot more guitar practice than usual, and perhaps it's occurred to you that you could experiment with some altered tunings. One of the most popular ones, which I get a lot of messages about on my Folk Friend YouTube channel, is DADGAD. It's got this really nice open ringing sound. Because several of the notes are tuned down and you've got a dropped D at the bottom, you get this very nice, bassy, full sounding accompaniment for Celtic music. In this video, I'm just going to be talking about the simplest types of chords for complete beginners. So if you are a complete DADGAD beginner and you want to quickly and easily get to a point where you can just trunk along with a tune, this is the video for you. Before we start, if you are new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. I make new folk music tutorials every week. They're usually out on a Friday, sometimes on a Saturday if I'm busy. But hit the subscribe button and the little bell, and then you will get a notification when I post a new video. And if you enjoy this clip, please hit the thumbs up. It helps me out because the YouTube algorithm like it, and then it gets shown to more people if you click the thumbs up. So go and do that now. Cool. Right then, let's have a look at some shapes. The first shape in DADGAD is D. We're going to assume that you're backing a tune in the key of D major for this. The chords that I'm going to show you will also apply to tunes in B Aeolian. Now, if you don't know what that means and you'd like to learn more about the modes and the music theory, which sounds boring but it's really, really useful if you're a complete beginner to understand how the modes work, then check out my other videos. I've linked one of them in the description, which will really help you out, and a blog which will help you understand how the modes work as well. But anyway, in the key of D major, the chords that you can use are D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor, and C sharp diminished. Like I say, you can find out why in my previous videos, which are linked down below, but you can also see what I've just said on my invention, the amazing mode wheel. So, Ionian, that's another name for major. D Ionian, that's our key that we're going to be imagining that we're playing along with. And here's our list of chords. D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor, and C sharp diminished, and then you're back where you started on the first note of the scale. If you want one of these amazing mode wheels, by the way, they're really helpful for understanding how the modes work. You can find them at finaleguitar.co.uk/shop, or you can get them linked in the box down below. Anyway, one of the good things about DADGAD is that there are just a couple of shapes that you need to know in order to play all of the chords that I've just mentioned. And actually, one of the easiest ways to do it is just using one shape, which just involves two fingers, and you just move it around. So I'm going to start out with that, and then I'm going to add a few extras to make your life easier afterwards. The very first chord is going to be this one. It's just one finger, and you put it on the second fret of the G string, and that gives you a D chord. That's got that lovely open, folky, ringing sound to it, and the reason for that is that that chord is only made up of the first and the fifth of D, so D and A. Normally in a chord, the simplest kind of chord is a triad, which is a first, a third, and a fifth. The third tells you whether the chord is major or minor, and the first and the fifth just kind of make it clear what chord it is. So if your first is D, you've got a D chord. You'd normally have D, the third, which is F sharp, third note from a D major scale, and A, the fifth. However, in this chord, you've just got D and A. So you've got D, A, D, A, D, A, D. So it's just firsts, roots, and fifths. What that means is that this chord can be either used for a D minor chord or used for a D major chord. The next chord we're going to use is just one finger, and it goes there. It's going to be best to do this chord with your third finger, the ring finger, and you put it on the second fret of the bottom string. The reason for that will become clear in a minute, but that is going to be your super easy E minor chord, the second chord available in the key of D major or D Ionian. Now, I'm not going to go into the music theory. This is an E minor chord with some extra notes in it. For our purposes, we're not going to worry what they are, we're just going to call it E minor. So if I say E minor, that's what I mean. Next one is F sharp minor. And now in order to get that, you can take the shape you've already got, slide it up 2 frets, so put your finger on the 4th fret, and then with your index finger, add that on the 2nd fret of the G string. So that gives you this, which is, let's call it F sharp minor. Again, it's F sharp minor with some extra notes, or D in the first inversion, but don't worry too much about that if you don't know what I'm talking about. Just think of it as F sharp minor. Now have a look at this shape, because this shape is slidable and we're going to move it and get every other chord in the scale out of it. So in that shape, I've got my root note, which is being fretted by my 3rd finger, and I've got the 3rd, which is being fretted by my index finger. Now I said before that the 3rd note in a chord is the one that makes the chord either major or minor. In this position, relative to the root, so 2 frets lower than it, that is playing a minor 3rd under that finger. And if I moved that finger up 1, it would be playing a major 3rd, which would make it this into a major chord. So by either putting that there if you want a major chord, or putting it there if you want a minor chord, and moving this shape about different places, you can get a whole chord scale. So here's our F sharp minor. The next chord, chord 4, that we wanted was G major. So G is going to be on the 5th fret, so I move my shape up 1 fret, and then because it's a major chord, not a minor chord, I move my index finger up an extra 1. So that is G major plus some extra notes, which is our chord 4. If we want A major next, we take that shape and we slide it up 2 more. That's our chord 5, which is very important in folk music. Again, more about that in my other videos. Go and check them out if you're new to folk guitar. The 6th chord is going to be B minor. So in order to get B minor, we're going to slide that shape up 2 more, and then move the index finger back into the minor position. So you've got your ring finger on the 9th fret and your index finger on the 7th fret. That's your B minor chord. And the very last chord I said was available was C sharp diminished. Folk music doesn't like the sound of diminished chords, and it generally, for folk backing, you're going to tend to avoid those. They sound very kind of unstable. They have lots of applications, but traditionally they're avoided in folk music. So what we're going to do instead is we're just going to take our minor shape, we're going to move it up to the 11th fret for the 3rd finger and the 9th fret for the index finger, and that's going to give us a kind of C sharp diminished substitute, which sounds much nicer and is easy to play. And then if you imagine your scale, you've gone D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and now you're back on D where you started. And the 12th fret on a guitar is always an octave up from the open string, so that's D, and this is D as well. So another place to get our D major chord would be all the way up here with the index finger on the 11th and the 3rd finger on the 12th. Now what that shape and its slidey nature are really useful for is that you can get all these nice ready-made chord progressions that are always going to sound good by just going up and down the scale. And actually it's a really good practice thing for your ear training and for your finger dexterity, just getting used to moving through these chords, to practice going up and down the chord scale. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start again from the 1st chord, and I'm going to go all the way up. To begin with, I'm going to strum each one once, and then when I get to the top, I'm going to come back down again. And that's the first kind of learning these chords exercise that I suggest you practice. So it sounds something like this. While you're doing this, tap your foot as well. Just generally, it's a really useful tip to keep your whole body in rhythm. And don't slouch like I do, because that's terrible practice. Yeah, good. 1, 2, 3, and. G, D, C sharp minor, B minor, A major, G major, F sharp minor, E minor, D. And that's the whole chord scale all the way up and down. Once you get good at doing that, the next thing to practice is doing it with a traditional strumming pattern, either jigs or reels or slip jigs or hornpipes, whatever you like. If you don't know how to strum those, check out my other videos. I've covered all of those rhythms, all the classic Irish rhythms and their sort of standard strumming patterns, and usually some variations on those as well in other videos on the Folk Friend channel. Go and have a look, just click the Folk Friend name down below this video and you'll find all my other clips. Anyway, so the next thing I'm going to do is practice going through the scale with one bar of a jig pattern per chord. So that's going to sound something like this. And back now. So that's that. That's a really good exercise, and that'll get you used to changing between those shapes in a hurry, which is really useful. I've got one more little top tip for you as well, which is instead of playing A all the way up here, a lot of the time in folk music you're going to need to go from chord 5 back to chord 1 fast. So instead of playing A there, you can also play it like this. Take your D chord that you started on, move your index finger down a string so it's on the D string, and then play all the strings except for the thickest one. And that is a nice kind of A chord with some extra notes in it, but it's really easy to play fast. So now you can go where you have to go from chord 5 back to chord 1 to make a tune sound finished. You can go something like that. That's it for this video. It's just a quick one for my DADGAD fans out there. If you would like to know more about DADGAD, let me know in the box down below and I'll show you how you can make some more interesting chord shapes out of it, how you can apply it to backing some tunes, how you can use it to play in keys other than D major. Bear in mind that all the shapes I've just shown you will work for tunes in B Aeolian as well, and with some slight modification which I can talk about in future videos if you want me to. Then it'll work for B Dorian as well. Check out my other videos if you haven't already. If you are interested in how the modes work and you would like a tool that tells you all the chords that go in any key for any of the folky modes, then the Amazing Mode Wheel is the tool for you. It also tells you all the notes that are in the scale for whichever key you're in. So that's a really handy thing to have. You can find them linked in the little card in the corner of the screen, and you can get them at finaleguitar.co.uk/shop as well. If you want to streamline your practice time, I've also just released a brand new practice diary, the Folk Friend Practice Diary, which is designed to cut out all the faffing, stop you from drifting off, and just keep you focused on your goals so that you can maximise the efficiency of your practice time. Because we're all busy and we all want to get better on the guitar, and those two things don't necessarily marry up very well. So check that out as well. That's in the card in the corner, in the box down below, and at finaleguitar.co.uk/shop. That is it for me for today. I'll be back next week with more videos. If you like this little free lesson, then check out the Folky Fridays live stream as well. That's every Friday from 5:30 PM UK time. I will set a link to next week's one in the box down below. And finally, if you'd like to know more, then there is no better way of learning than from a teacher, one-on-one. I am a full-time guitar teacher. I also teach jazz, rock, singer, songwriting, composition, all that kind of stuff. And I also do folky lessons over the internet via Zoom or WhatsApp. So drop me a message if you'd like to get some proper one-on-one lessons. I guarantee that they will be a much more efficient way of finding the information that you need to know than trolling about on YouTube trying to find the relevant clips. That's it for this week. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all for more videos very, very soon.